Um, and I think we're using actual scientific experiments now. Controlled experiments, challenging me to half minute zero, hyperbullet. See, I didn't even know what hyperbullet was. That's how out of touch I am with pop culture. Pop culture, hyperbullet, Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus probably likes hyperbullet, but yeah, if she played chess, that would be her time control. Knight G4, Justin Bieber also plays hyperbullet. We're not into that. We're not into classical stuff, but kind of alternative time controls. Like 3 minutes 2 or 5-3. Not pop time controls, basically. Spinal Tap chess. Remember seeing this at some tournament a long time ago, but wait a minute. Are you sure like black wasn't a tempo up in the Caraclage? It's nothing like being a tempo up in the Caraclage. He did it again. He hung his D4 knight. It's your problem in the Sicilian is the D4. Is the D4 point. So I met Caraclage. I met Caraclage in where was it? In Serbia. And what is the capital of Serbia again? Belgrade. It's like, wow. So I played in a closed tournament in Belgrade, and when I was there, Caraclage, he was an older IM, very theoretical player. He's written a lot for theory and a strong IM, but he invited me to his house, and it was kind of weird because I just didn't even really get to meet him, and he was like inviting me to his house, and well, anyway, like I have nothing against gay people at all, you know. I totally fully like support gay rights and everything, and I'm very liberal, but you know, I'm straight, so it was kind of like a little weird. I didn't really understand then. Then it turned out that later a friend of mine told me that he was gay. So I was like, wow, no wonder, you know, he invited me to his house so strangely. He must have liked me. And but that's cool, you know. I take it as a compliment. I know I'm good looking, you know, and what can you do? G6. It must have been Perelstein. Some dude took on B2 and lost in like 15 moves. I don't know. It feels like you might be able to take on B2, but if you do, you're walking like a tightrope. I didn't like the look of that. Yeah, I mean, it looks like Queen takes B2. Basically, the moral of the story was, guys, don't go home with people, you know, when they invite you to their house without even really getting to know you. You know, don't take candy from strangers, regardless of your sexual orientation. It's a little strange to invite someone to your house before you've even like had a conversation with them. Bishop G7. So whenever I play the Caraclage variation, that's my memory. So you've got E5 here, Werenfeld. If I castle E5, pawn takes E5, knight takes E7, check. I think I can just play E6. By the way, Spinal Tap, welcome to the stream today. What time it is? Hello, Master Pascal and all. It's not the poison pawn variation, no. It's like a weird tempo down position where black has queen b6 for free, and We'll have to look at it with the computer later to kind of make sure. Yeah, e5, I was thinking about this. So if I throw in bishop g4 first, at the very least, I don't have to take anything. I just smash up white structure, I guess. So maybe we don't win material right away, but we trash white structure. If we take on e5, he takes on e7. Now I have bishop h6, which is a nice safe move. But you have knight f4, I just realized. So I'm not winning anything. But anyway, you got your knight off of d5. It's okay. And black is piece up. So, Spinal Tap Chess, what's up? I think you're supposed to play a6 in that position? Really? Wow. Can I do that? Can I play a6 Spinal Tap? I don't even know what your repertoire is this day. At this time, Spinal Tap. Do you play Sicilian yourself? Don't you play Caro-Kann? I've seen you play some Caro-Kann, haven't I? We'll just trade pieces. So guys, if you want to challenge me, feel free to do so. Make a little increment. No Miley Cyrus time controls, please. Yeah, alright, Werfeld, we're gonna play different stuff. I'm not gonna play the Sicilian against you every time. Wow, we had a challenge from Twitch somebody, but he Shansha, that's too long. If you want to play me, make a smaller increment. Spinal Tap Chess. You mean Spinal Tap Chess? Yeah, I'm supposed to play a6 on move 5, right? The Najdorf is better. You think Miley Cyrus even knows what a time control is? Well, that's not the question. If she did play chess, her preferred time control would be Hyper Bullet. Twitch chatter. Alright. I'm sorry I brought up Miley Cyrus. I just wanted to create a little levity here. E4. I'm playing too much Sicilian, guys. Twitch chatter. I don't know how good Twitch chatter is. New opponent. We're going to go with the Alekhine's defense. It's been a while, but I was thinking the other day, come on, you know, we need to play our full spectrum of openings. And if I lose, I lose. You know, I don't claim to be like the best Alekhine's defense player in the world. And it's been a while since I studied it, honestly. My track record isn't real good with the Alekhine's defense. I had a funny story with a strong master at the Boylston Chess Club in Boston. When I was kind of like coming up, there was this really strong FIDE master named Jacob Racine, and he was like IM strength, basically, like a weaker IM strength player. But he was beating me down pretty badly when I was a 2200, and I was just thinking the other day about this. Like, I just kind of dissed him once. I don't know what I was thinking, but I said that. I remember once saying that he plays. I don't remember my exact words. He doesn't play sharply enough or something like that, and the guy was really offended because he's actually a friend of mine, but he was very offended because this guy's repertoire was like the Alekhine's defense, or maybe I said he was boring. I said he had a boring style, and his repertoire is the Dutch defense and the Alekhine's defense. I mean, that's like the sharpest openings you can play, basically. And here I was, like, so ignorant. I'm like dissing him and telling him that his openings or his style is boring. I mean, can you imagine playing just the Dutch defense and the Alekhines all the time? I mean, that's pretty crazy. So I actually got to give him credit. I mean, you're playing like weaker players all the time and trying to win every single game with the Dutch and Alekhines. You deserve credit for that. Here I sacked a pawn Kind of missed queen takes d5, guys. Although I think I have some compensation here. This reminds me a little bit of a weird line in the Trompowsky that I played with black. We have some development in exchange for the pawn. You're studying French now, Werenfeld, so I can't help you too much. Although I've occasionally experimented with French. My worst memory is like helping Hikaru Nakamura to the final GM norm by playing the French against him. Was not what I intended to do. Hikaru was playing d4 openings at that time, and I thought I played like d4 e6, and he would go into some kind of like weird Kiriz defense or something like that, but he just transposed me into the French, and I had a plan. My plan was to play the Rubinstein variation of the French, which is very solid, and I was pretty well prepared. But then Hikaru played the advanced variation, and just outplayed me in like a normal position. So that's the only time I ever lost to Hikaru, at least in normal chess. So the French, I beat Volokitin's dad. Don't have a lot of wins. Don't really like my knight on c2 here, but I guess I shouldn't move it just yet. Develop some pieces first. Interesting handle, Twitch chatter. Are you streaming here yourself on Twitch? Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to fire away in the chat room on Twitch. Keep the conversation lively. Railbird80 said, when ions drop a pawn, it's called sacrifice. But if a B player does it, can you explain playing c6 there in the Alekhine? I'd be playing knight b6. Oh. What did I do? Oh, c6. Well, I guess that knight b6 is probably the main line. But I don't think there's anything drastically wrong with c6. Twitch chatter is not streaming. He wants to learn. Okay, now this is a bishop pair, and he's hitting my a6 pawn. I mean, my knight on c2 is pretty bad anyway, so I'd like to keep my king in the center, honestly, here, but it's just not going to happen. I really need to connect my rooks. Maybe f6 or f5 here. Knight b5 is another idea. We can play f6, I guess. I mean, in a sense, it seems weird to undouble his pawns. But I really want the king to be in the middle. In any kind of endgame. I guess you could castle and play f6 as well, but how many tempos does that add up to? Shaw and Shaw, Rose Junkie, Rose Junkie, I recall playing well and like generously giving me a draw in a good position. And this is interesting now. If I take with the pawn, feels like it worsens my pawn structure to take with the pawn. However, if I take with the bishop, then knight e4 is going to probably gain some time for him. So we'll just live with the pawn capture. Boring game. World Championship. Yeah, Liberian. We already covered that. That one doesn't take long to answer. Boring. Right? Yeah, it's not like going to make you want to play the Gioco Pianissimo. Well, I mean, White is the low-rated player, and she's obviously intimidated by Hu Yifan a little bit, I guess. But honestly, I wouldn't be afraid of Hu Yifan, you know, in that endgame against Carlsen where she choked. I mean, the first move I saw was like A5, you know. It's unbelievable. So it goes around, comes around, you know. People who are intimidated intimidate others. Whoever has the biggest rating is like, you know, everyone's terrified of them. But it's just psychological, you know. Hu Yifan is not that great. She's a great player, but she's not that great that, like, Muzi Shuk should be afraid But white just played like super cautiously there in that game. So here I guess I should get my rook as active as I can. We got a rook check. We've got a bishop check on c5. And white's in trouble after this. I mean, maybe I'm going to play f5 at some point to take away the e4 square. So e5, not really a good move there, Twitch chatter. You're a little overextended. Maria wants save. She was white. Yeah. She doesn't want to take any risks. Do you use the Budapest Gambit? I played the Budapest Gambit like once in my life under the influence of marijuana. And it wasn't a good... it just wasn't a really good experience for me. I lost to an expert who I never ever in my life like came close to losing to in like 15 games. So ever since that, it was just like, no, I'm not going to play the Budapest. Yeah, I don't really like, even then in my early 20s, I didn't, play a lot of games under the influence of illicit substances, but then you do it and you have a bad experience. Like, yeah, the Budapest, I can't get that out of my head. But the Budapest Gambit is, I find playing white not that easy, actually. This old Russian guy, played a very rare line against me. No, it was irrational for me to quit playing Budapest just because of one game. But that's what happens sometimes. You just have a bad experience and it just sours the whole opening for you. Do you think about becoming a GM soon? Yeah, I'd like to, but again, it's like I wish I had it to try to do over again. But we only get to live once. I would like to try. Last month, like the organizer of the first Saturday tournament offered me to play in the GM tournament there for a discount, but even at discount, the entry fee is very high. I just wanted to play, but actually these first Saturday tournaments in Budapest are notoriously bad because there's a lot of like young players that are very underrated. I remember one time in 1997 when the rating system was different, so they'd only changed like once every 3 months. There was this one GM tournament I played here in Budapest where it was in like, I think it was in June, and if you rated the tournament a month later, there were so many strong players that were young. If the tournament had been rated like 1 month later, the average rating of the tournament would have been like 80 points higher or something like that. The average rating would have been 80 points higher. So it was, you're just playing a lot of really strong players. If I do go for the GM title, basically I guess what I'm trying to say is I've got to be very selective about where I play because man, the rating is important and you have to kind of guard your rating. So I don't really want to play here in the first Saturday. It's expensive. It's like too many like underrated players who are improving. The best chance is in strong open tournaments. I played some really good open tournaments. I'd like to have played in Gibraltar actually. That would be good. The Isle of Man, they have a good open. So to find like a whole bunch of open tournaments around Europe that are really strong. I didn't agree with Twitch chatter fixing your pawns on light squares. Of course, Railbird80. I told Twitch chatter right away that I don't like e5. Yeah, not good. Not good strategically there. Rook d1. So yeah, this is Boris Gulko. Boris Gulko world. Basically, maybe I had better there. Bishop d4. Bishop d4 might have been strong, although this wins a pawn for me. I feel I probably had better. Maybe it doesn't even win a pawn. Yeah, it should. I mean, I have rook f3, h3, rook g3. Should be winning. I agree, Railbird. These pawns are very easy to attack, and the white squares he can't really protect that well. Bishop d2 wins a rook. Oh, bishop d2. That's crazy. God, yeah. Well, thank you for not telling me in advance, guys, because somebody did that recently, and I was like, you know what, dudes, don't help me. I don't need help. Help my opponents. So yeah, bishop d2. I knew there was something strange going on there. Even just bishop d. Yeah, bishop. There are lots of good moves for black, but bishop d2 obviously is winning the exchange. So what's up? Who else is here? Everybody, all the regular guys, and welcome to the stream. Sunday I'm going to do my Simul on Lichess, 5:45 Central European time. I always talk about Boris Golko when I see a bishop. Usually it's a bad bishop, though. He's making the bad bishop good. Spinal Tap Chess, did you ever play with Golko? Probably not. He's not been that active since you've been around. Recently, Golko published a book of his games. I only got to play him once, which is much less than most of the American GMs. Thanks for the game, Twitch chatter. Of course, Golko is originally from Russia, but he's lived in the United States since the since basically the end of communism around 1989. Maybe earlier. I'm not sure when. It was around 89 probably when he came. Okay, Rose Junkie. Last time you gave me a tough game. Let's see what happens. This time I'm white. Is chess a popular sport in Hungary? Absolutely. Yeah, Hungary has a very good history of chess. That's one of the reasons why I'm based here in Budapest. Originally, I came here for chess reasons. People play, yeah, it means similar to Russia. It's pretty deeply ingrained in the culture. But, I mean, modern culture doesn't really, you know, have a big connection with chess. I'm sure, like, Russia is even stronger than here in Hungary in terms of, like, cultural connection to chess. But I think the younger people, you know, don't have as much connection to it as the older generations. You can go to the thermal spa and play chess in the pool. You know, it's not something that's going to happen in the West. I've been really hoping I can go to, Zalaegerszeg. There is a great open tournament in May, Southwest Hungary. If you guys want to travel, if you want to play, if I want to play, I should play in that. You know, if I want to make maybe a GM norm, or that's the tournament to play in. May, end of May. I've been experimenting with everything here, Rose Junkie. Yeah, too many Oligos games. Let's play the main line. Have you ever illegally downloaded memes? No. I'm not into meme. You know, I'm not. What is a meme again? Is that something like? Is that like Bill Cosby? I'm just kidding. Memes, it's like trolling. Memes didn't exist as a word until recently, did it? B. Johnson, did you stop streaming? It seemed like he was streaming for 24 hours or something. Whenever I log on to Lichess, he's there with electronic or deep house and streaming. Queen B3. Rose Junkie, this is Oligos territory here. Yeah, Oligos' theory in this line is so deep that I actually stopped playing it at some point. He's got this really weird pawn sacrifice he plays. The Queen B3, Rook D8, C4. How does it work again? He has some crazy line he plays. Rook D8, C4. Trying to remember what it is. Now, Bishop E6, I think, just hangs a pawn. You're going to have to consult Oligos on this, guys. although I like kind of hate Olegas with a passion, I respect his theoretical knowledge of the Lasker variation of the Orthodox Queen's Gambit. So the B. Johnson is streaming from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Aussie time. That's a full-time job, man. I'll have to check it out. So queen takes b7 here. Rook d8 is the main line. And c6 sometimes people play there, but it's very passive. So Rose Junkie, last time you played me, you gave me fits. You were white, though. There's a big difference between being white and black. Here, I think it's not good to take a second pawn. Yeah, I mean, I could grab a second pawn. I mean, having said that, maybe it's worth considering, like, queen takes c7. But if black's accurate, I think I'm in trouble there. Queen takes c7, not like rook c8, queen a5. It looks like queen takes c7, queen a3, and white could be in a lot of danger. So this is a classic example of don't be greedy, you know. Rook b8 is on tap for black, I guess. Our queen is going to get trapped somehow? I don't think so. Bishop d3, bishop e2. I like this time control, guys. A lot of time to talk about this. Am I a chess coach? I am now. I wasn't for... Well, I was always, actually. I've always... Even as a poker pro, I've had like a few... even when I was playing poker full-time until recently, I've had a few students on and off. I never stopped coaching chess completely. But I wasn't a full-time coach, coach chess-wise for a long time. But I'm back in business now. So knight d7, yeah, if you guys are interested in lessons, send me an email at videochesstrainer@gmail.com. My email address on my YouTube channel is in the Twitch info down below the stream. Definitely have space for some more students, so if anybody wants to study chess, give me a call. Knight d7, yeah, bishop d3 is much more active than bishop e2, but bishop d3 is more prone to attack. Then again, it's not going to be easy for him to get at it. I could also just put all that aside and make a prophylactic move like queen a6 here or queen b3. Any kind of retreating queen move is probably fine. I just don't really want to lose a tempo if I don't have to. Is bishop d3 going to cost me time later on, I wondered, like c5, c4? Could that make a difference? It's hard to say. I'm going to try it. It's a little more active. I'm just concerned that like later on maybe this bishop will like be a tempo loss for me. You are 17? Who are you guys talking about? You're talking about the B. Johnston. Okay. Are you a coach? Are you a chess coach? B. Johnston. I thought you were talking to me, man. Bishop d3. So I can't follow all the chat, guys, especially with this long time control game. I'm chattering a lot. It is very good. I'm very lucky. Just very tiring. Sweat life. The B. Johnston works in several schools each day. Chess coaching in the schools. I did some chess coaching in the schools too, but it's, being a strong player and doing that, sometimes you have the feeling you're just a babysitter, and it's very rewarding when the kids are really into it. But if not, then it gets to be like, why am I doing this? Sometimes the teacher just turns you into a babysitter, and you're not like feeling like you're really doing what you want to be doing. Okay, c5. Yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about. So, is c4 going to be a problem for me? I'm a little bit worried about b2, like a rook invasion along the b file here. I'll just castle. William, yeah, you guys can see I'm not 17. I know I look younger for my age. I'll just shut up now. I look young for my age, but not that young, you know. No, you're not. You won't shut up. Okay, guys. Gary Hurts. Don't bring the argument to my channel. Queen C7 is interesting. And Rose Junkie making life a little difficult for me here. I don't know. I never know who's talking to me and who's talking to someone else. You think it's all about you, huh? Queen A6, and this is what I was talking about. I mean, things wouldn't have been that easy with the bishop on E2 either, to be honest, because it's going to be hit by rook B2. Now, black has a couple interesting moves. I mean, you can play C4 or you can play rook B2 right away. I also could have taken on C5 at some point, but obviously it's... Sometimes I'm going to intentionally say like bad moves to try to throw you people off, because you're going to just keep taking my suggestions. Good job though, Rose Junkie. I was hoping for rook B2. There I have queen A3, which is very unpleasant. So for black, I thought my queen was trapped for an instant. You played rook B6 so fast. I was like, whoa, did I just trap my own queen? So here, what about, I want to defend my bishop or I want to play queen A5? Queen A5 looks somewhat logical. Actually, my queen could get trapped in some lines here. Gospodin Mai says, I'm also coaching my ex-elementary school. Well, I don't know what I'm afraid of here, honestly. I think I should oppose the file. Little bit of a breather there. I don't know. I think black probably had something a little stronger. I was afraid my queen could get trapped in some lines. It looks kind of boxed out on A5. So I feel like here I have some time to breathe. I mean, I don't have to rush knight D2. And, you know, bishop G4, anything, I can play knight D2. We're up a pawn, a kind of important pawn. Central majority just wins. Wernfeld says, when your opponent plays fast move, that show he had calculated. Queen B7 now? Well, we can transfer the pawn structure. Or just play queen A3. If I play queen A3, yeah, maybe it's best to exchange first here. I don't want to let him triple on the file. And I don't think the pawn structure makes that big a difference if he has the pawn on B6. It's a slightly improved pawn structure, you could argue, for black, but I feel comfortable here. It's very hard from attack to attack A2, and we're winning basically in the center with knight D2 and eventually playing like F3 and E4. So, I mean, in order for white to win this game, basically, I have to win with my pawn majority, which is in the center. So, ultimately playing E4. Rook F1, B1. Yeah. That's what we played at one point. And there's no problems here except for queen a3, right? Got that covered. The c4 pawn, you know, it's kind of extended. This pawn structure is never easy for black to play. This Tarish kind of pawn structure. He has a corresponding weakness. I mean, b6 is just as weak as a4, if not weaker. So black's not going to be able to pick off my a pawn without dropping one of his own in most lines. And both sides need to bring their kings into the center in this endgame. But I think you're going to see that, like, once I play... that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. So now these pawns are weak. I am going to lose my a pawn, which isn't a big tragedy. I don't want to give up the c3 pawn. That's kind of important. So, Rose Junkie. Rose Junkie. Should I take on b6 here? Ooh, this gets a little awkward. This does get a little awkward in some lines. Just take on e4. Looks dangerous for me. Rose Junkie, you're making my life a little bit difficult here. I have to watch out for back rank mates. I guess queen takes b6. Then queen c2. Jeez, that gets kind of scary. Bad bishop, good knight, but it's kind of scary bad bishop. We can hold this together, get our king active. No back rank mates. Rose Junkie, you are tough. I have 2 draws. I said you beat me, though. Oh, you gave me a draw. Okay. With 2 draws. I don't remember the second draw. Was it in the simul or something? Rook c2 takes here. And then I'm taking on e4 now. What's up, guys? Up and Comer is now hosting you for 4 viewers. Thank you, Up and Comer. Check. Knight g3 was the original plan. You can also play knight d6. Or f3. Maybe f3, honestly, is interesting. Not sure about this, but it looks pretty good. Rook ending, a pawn up. Let's check. Get the king up. And I don't know about this. I'm not sure about this, folks. But my pawns look pretty strong. We're up a pawn. I think our protected passer is pretty strong. I could play rook b7 there. I want to get behind the passer. I'm threatening e5 now. Or rook c7. Not sure which is best. But these passers have to be very strong. King here. I don't care about the other pawns anymore, obviously. These connectors should win. So it was really a tough game. I bet there's at some point a Rose Junkies find there with accurate play. Wow, tough game, Rose Junkie. Thank you. Corrupt Bishop came for the revenge. If there are only 29, okay. Is this where all the racists are at? Who's that again? I can't read it. Corrupt Bishop. Who is the... Manners first, dude. Listen, if we start again with that right away, I realize that other dude was kind of harassing you now, but please don't start any discussions about racism unless it's absolutely warranted. Manners first, because I felt, even if the guy was posting abusive things, you were kind of feeding into him. So please don't start any discussions of that stuff unless it's absolutely necessary. Filthy Bishop. So knight f3. If that guy comes back, I would ban him. I would chat ban him. But at the time, I didn't have time to see. This was like last week. I'm not gonna click on his link and see what he's posting or whatever. So if anybody posts anything racist, they're banned. But let's try not to spend a day discussing racism as a topic in our chess stream here. So bishop g5, e3. It's our most popular opening by far. It seems to be the Queen's Gambit Decline, which is weird. The Queen's Gambit Decline is not a really trendy defense for black. Swedlife says there's half closed eyes. What are you talking about? Sledgy is definitely 420 friendly. Try not to ban anyone. There's a few people who have escaped the ban hammer who probably shouldn't have. But I'm pretty liberal. b6. Yeah, this is main line. I'm not going to make the same mistake I made in an earlier game in this Karpov line and not take on f6. I did it against, what was that guy's name again? Hebler, or he was streaming for a while. Let him play knight on b to d7. The whole point of playing bishop e2 is to trade on f6 and then trade on d5. This was featured in some Karpov-Kasparov matches. I used to think he was tired, and then I realized he's in a European country. I am tired. Are you talking about me? I also think people are talking about me. I'm paranoid. I think everyone's talking about me, but it is my stream. So here it's like the choice between c5 and c6. No one seems to play c5. I guess it's under a cloud, theoretically. I've had a million games with c6. With a pretty good score for white. I don't think I've ever lost a game. So knight d7. What would Kamsky do here? He'd probably just play b5 straight away. Kamsky loves this kind of structure, like b5 for white. He's playing really classic Kamsky in the Aeroflot tournament. There's going to be way too many draws. He already has 2 draws. Yesterday's game, he played the London system, and actually black, some guy I never heard of, played, I thought, pretty interestingly against Kamsky. He was slightly better. Kamsky offered a draw after like 30 moves, but it looked like black, a really inventive kind of reverse reti sort of setup, but he played very accurately against Kamsky's London system. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. Yeah. I don't know if we can credit Kurt Cobain with that, putting in Nirvana song. Who is the originator of that quote? Okay, knight c5, knight takes c5. You get a very fancy move, knight takes c5. So I castle, you play c5. Interesting. So you sort of saved the tempo. I think that's pretty cool. Here, knight e5 is an interesting move for me. Knight e5. What does it actually do, though? Probably nothing. Rook c1. For lack of a better move. D takes c5. Given that it's a classic chess stream, yeah, we're classic here. It's an alternative class, you know. Classic would be like if we're playing like 20-minute games. It's not that classic. Classic according to Lead Chess. Actually, when I started the stream, I was doing 15-minute games on ICC, and I like the 15-minute games. But I realized it's just... I would prefer to play 15-minute games, but it's just like, you can't play enough games. And now knight e4. Knight takes e4, I think I'm kind of compromising a little bit if I do that here. Maybe we can improve. A filthy bishop. Sneaky opening. We won against you yesterday. I don't want to fix your... I mean, not fix, but it kind of improves the scope of your bishop if I take on e4. Although white is better there. I don't know how much better I am. How significant it really is. Maybe we play queen b3 first. Just kind of see if we can't like get a little, squeeze a little more out of the position than taking on e4. The stream would be so much better with some relaxing background music. Yeah, what should we do? Well, I'm open to suggestions. I just wasn't sure like what kind of music. Like I know that Twitch has a selection of music, but it was pretty lame when I looked at it. Rook c8. Rook c1. Twitch has a selection of music that you can use from Spotify, at least. I was looking at the Spotify, Twitch, you know, offerings, and I wasn't real enthused with it, honestly. I'd like to listen to my own stuff, but I wasn't sure if I'm allowed. Although I'm not like, you know, it's not a paid stream or whatever, so I'm not sure what the rules are. So queen d6, I don't want like music to be like overwhelming though. But I don't want to listen to like elevator music either. Queen d6. You guys want some classical music, some Beethoven? I'm not really into classical at all. I wouldn't be called Sparklehorse if I was a really classical music person. I'm kind of freezing like a deer in headlights here. I don't know where my advantage is, basically. I like my structure. There's a little something here. Just got to keep saying to yourself, what would Kamsky do? What would Kamsky do? Yeah. Filthy bishop. It's 5-0? Oh my god, filthy bishop. 5-0, I didn't even know. I'm thinking I have an increment. And rated, dude? Are you serious? You challenged me to 5-0 rated, and I'm not even paying attention? Holy crap. But 30 seconds is enough. I'm faster than you think I am. When I want to be. But Filthy Bishop, I meant to tell you, dude, that I don't really like to play without increment here on the stream while I'm talking. And this is why. Filthy bishop challenging me to 5-0, and I don't even realize it's like without increment. I have to check before I move. Oh my god. You stole my rating points. I'm so pissed. Unbelievable. Okay. Filthy bishop just sneaking in the 5-0 challenge when I'm not really paying attention, dude. That's just not right. That's just criminal. Oh, jeez. 3-2. Criminal, guys. Challenge me with increment. I realized only with 30 seconds left that it wasn't with increment. I was like, oh yeah, we got all the time in the world. It's okay, no problem. So D4 here, I think, is theory. Instagram instantly plays D6. What? Didn't even consider taking. I think Instagram is insta-moving. Insta-moving. Man, Instagram, you're playing too fast, dude. Now we have increment. It's a different story than the last game. Now here I don't know what I should do. You can't take with the knight. Your pawn structure is just ruined if you do that. So, bishop e3 is not really good. I want to kind of kill that knight, but it does have a good route back into the game via d6. Corrupt bishop. He didn't know about the increment thing. It's okay, dude. I'm a little bit angry. But it's my fault, you know. I should pay attention. And I told people before, I don't mind rated games. But nobody warned me. They're usually like, man, you're running out of time. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I was down to 37 seconds, and I don't think anybody said a word. They're just like, oh, he's going to lose on time. At that point, I'm just happy to basically like get the material off the board and draw. I'm so like crippled with the mouse. Yeah, this position is interesting. I like the knight on d5 here. I'm not even going to go for material. Just, though I probably should have. I probably had something better. I don't know, though. Actually, not sure. Too lazy to calculate. And this looks pretty good for white. But knight g4 is a square that I don't really want to see this guy visiting g4 anytime soon. You guys note that if I play something like knight c7, I mean, it's not so clear. He has bishop takes c4. So I don't see anything like crushing for white here, basically. Just playing positional chess. If you put your pieces on the right squares, eventually something good's gonna happen. Maybe an exchange sack for the bishop on g7, for example. I'd like to get that in. T good. You're talking about increment. Okay. Yeah, no, increment is the added time per move. So here, if you look in the upper left-hand side where my mouse cursor is, you've got 3 plus 2. So it's 3 minutes plus 2 seconds added every move. No, totally understandable that you're playing for time. You have no other choice, man. Bishop takes g5 wins a piece, no? Instagram makes me think of Candygram. Candygram makes me think of Land Shark. It's like word association games We should play chess word association. Yeah, we're not going to let you mate me on h2 here. So, don't give crazy bishop, corrupt bishop, whatever his name is, a hard time, because it was my fault. I should realize. It's my responsibility to check every time control, make sure that it's right. Bishop takes f3. We got all kinds of white squares. And where's my king safest? Maybe on f1 even. I like h1. h1, staying out of the way, basically. And this extra piece should be enough. He's got a couple pawns for it, but this monster knight and my bishop's not bad for a defensive piece. So it's not really enough for black here. If I let you in there on the 8th, how much counterplay are you going to get? Yeah, I prefer not to give you any counterplay if I can here. So I'm not going to take on b7, take on e8 and take on b7 and give the guy, you know, rook to the 8th and who knows what. Let's try to I think it's better to limit black's counterplay. Guys, every Sunday we're doing a simul, probably 5:45 Central European time. Here on Lichess. If I get double rooks on the 7th, black is in serious trouble here. f4. Now we have access to the e4 square. So this not really helping black too much. Can win a pawn. We just play bishop e4. Bishop e4 is also pretty strong. But we'll take the pawn. And yep. Again, don't let him get counterplay when you can help it. Bishop e3. Well, here I just take the pawn now. And I'm defending my bishop, so it's over. Yeah. Instagram. This is with increment. Are you asking me what increment is? This must be it must be T-Good. T-Good, are you Instagram? You're like, what is increment? Increment is why you're not going to win on time this game. GG. So, why you're not going to get a draw on time. Ghost Mind. Filthy Bishop, Shah and Shah. So Filthy Bishop wants a rematch already. With the very generous 3-3 time control. Shah and Shah. Time to play Shah and Shah, guys. Always. Yeah, Railbird. I wanted to watch like the old Landshark video the other day, but you can't find it on YouTube. It's like all these old Saturday Night Live episodes, but not that one. It's a tragedy. I don't know why they're protecting it. They're like guarding it with their lives. The secret Landshark footage. So Queen c2. Corrupt Bishop sent another challenge. Yeah, guys. I will play like second games with people if we have time, but we've got quite a few viewers who want to play, so I try to. T-Good, it wasn't you, or was it you? I try to play like as many different players as I can. So here's an interesting setup. Did I play this against you yesterday, Shah and Shah? Did you play a Stonewall Dutch against me yesterday? I couldn't remember, but I discovered this interesting setup for white where we just try to plow through on the queen side. Generally speaking, the white doesn't put the knight on c3 in the stonewall. But I've been looking for like alternative ways of playing with white in the stonewall. And one of my students had an opponent who did this with white. And I've been using it in blitz, and it's pretty effective, actually. So it kind of makes sense. I mean, I saw this guy, he's like an expert, play this with white. Against a student of mine, and it was just like, wow, that like seems very logical. Queen on c2, rook b1, just blast through on the queen side with a minority attack. Structurally, it makes all the sense in the world. White doesn't have any weaknesses. Maybe this is a line that exists that I just never knew about. Candygram makes you think of Land Shark. Of course. Candygram. Not Left Shark. Land Shark. Land Shark is not pop culture. They tried to do like remakes of Land Shark, I guess. But it's just not funny without Chevy Chase, like the original one. Okay, knight e4. Logical. But this is my whole plan. So I get to break the queen side. I have some kind of play. Non-standard, kind of non-standard Stonewall attack play for white. Let's see what happens here. Take on d5. This order of moves. Yeah, I think I made a mistake there. Man, that was just bad by me. I should have taken on c6 first. Okay. Note made. This was bad. I have to take on c6 first. Talking about candygrams and land sharks too much. Let's see what we can do. Maybe we can break open the king side. He took with the f pawn, right? Knight g5. I still think that I have some play against his pawn structure here. e6 is... Let's get rid of these circles. e6 is a pretty important weak point. And I've got f3. But it was really bad of me not to exchange on c6, guys. So what is that? Sweat Life very close to getting banned today. Pushing the limits. What happened? Oh my god. What is that? So, Queen e7, Bishop h3 here would force like Rook f6. I think we're going to break up the structure. Kind of scary with this bishop here on this diagonal, but I don't think he has anything. So pawn takes pawn. I think we have to play pawn takes pawn. We could trade rooks, I guess. We could take with a rook, but want to keep e4 under control. I don't like the way I play this, guys. I mentioned it earlier, but now Shan Shah has some tricks. But I still think white is good. I have to be a bit careful. Get rid of that arrow there. That's a circle, right? What's the difference again? What's circle? Circle, arrow? Queen d2 maybe is interesting. Queen d2. Queen f2. Queen d2 or queen f2, guys? I don't know. Queen d2 could get hit by the knight, so we'll go to f2. Goofy gumdrops. Bishop g6. Okay, guys, weird position. Made a terrible, terrible mistake. Taking on d5. Still, the position is unclear. But I like black's use of the c file, f file. He's gotten to use these open files, so it appears that we've kind of screwed up to some degree. But black also still has some problems positionally. I mean, the e6 pawn being the main thing. So my king is still pretty safe as well. And e5 from Shansha. Knight takes. Any particular threat you have there, Shansha? You want to tell me about? Maybe? Because I see everything. You wanted that bishop c5 skewer, didn't you? Well, actually, you weren't really threatening it because I have bishop e3. Looks like anything could happen here, boys and girls. But Shansha's pieces are very, very active. So I'm not real happy. And this pawn, I don't know. He's got bishop f7. If I take it, it's not even that good for me. So I don't know. We screwed up. We screwed up not taking on c6. That's all there is to it. I mean, what else can we do? Maybe rook e3. e3 is interesting. What's my follow-up there for rook e3? Queen takes pawn check. Allows that. Okay, let's try it. Shansha, you're playing good chess today. I don't really know what I'm doing here. Maybe I can sack an exchange or something. This position looks too easy for black. None of my companies... Okay, you guys are making political jokes. This is not a... Yeah, I sort of played into it, but let's just concentrate on chess, shall we? Yeah, I just realized that I do have a threat, don't I? Knight c4, queen takes d5 check. Bishop f7 there. No, black is good. So I don't even know if I want to take that. Probably not. We'll just play rook e1. Oh, I just hung my queen? Are you serious? Hung my queen. Good game, me. Good game. Good game, Shansha. That's the first time you beat me? Wow. Congratulations, man. He's challenging me to a rematch. No rematches. I can't believe that's the first time you beat me. Ghost mind. But I screwed up. And I have to take on c6. Didn't like my position after that. Let's play a Pierce defense. Something different. Yesterday I hung a piece with like knight takes f7 in one game. Today I hung my queen. Whenever I get a bad position, I just sort of freak out and hang a queen or a piece. Basically. Just to kind of make life... Like, make it look like, you know, it was just a one-move blunder. It's a defense mechanism. Then you guys will be like, oh yeah, I'll be like, yeah, I just hung a piece, you know. My position was fine. I just hung a queen. I was a pawn down with really no compensation whatsoever, so... Not a good game. But an interesting system for white, and I think very playable. Something to try, despite my poor result there. c6 is not good here. a6 and b5, or a6 and b6. Yeah, the old lines are c6 and bishop g4, but I think that against the classical peers, a6 and b6 is the best. I was totally winning, but I blundered my queen. Damn, yeah. That's what you say, you know. If you lose a pawn or something, just drop your queen the next move and you can, like... You avoid the suffering of a long game where you like losing a pawn down. Bishop g5. Trying to induce me to play what? h6 or something? After a6, I think rook e1 is a move. I guess there's a lot of moves here. I can play b5, I guess. b5 a little more active, also a little more risky than b6. So we're experimenting with some different openings. We don't play that much. The Pierce defense, the Alekhine. I thought we'll open it up a little bit. and not always play the same thing. I thought you were leaving, Swedlife. Why did I think you were leaving? Can we stop talking about Donald Trump? Really, you're not even from America. You don't have to worry about it, you know. I have an American passport, and you know, I thought I'd try this. So it's disturbing to me, particularly. To those who have an American passport, don't make light of it. Swedlife. It's a serious thing. So, instantly knight a4 from Ghostmine. Ghostmine, have I played you a bunch of games, right? You're from the Bahamas. That's interesting. Can I come over? I can play for the Bahamas national team. I wanted to move to Bermuda for a while. Knight e4, knight d5. Everyone has to. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Goofy gumdrops. Some of us have to worry about it more than others. But I guess everybody has to worry about it. I live in Hungary, man. I mean, we have a tyrannical dictator as president here. So, prime minister. But, you know, Hungary only has so much power. You know, it can only, like, ruin, like, a small part of the world, basically. A5. Basically, Hungary, you know, Hungarian politics can't destroy, like, the entire world. But one thing that a lot of people overestimate, especially outside of the United States, is, like, especially, like, here in Hungary, because the prime minister has so much power, which he really shouldn't, is, like, you know, the American president, you know, he doesn't control the world. He's in check completely. Like, Obama's held completely in check by you know, the Senate and the House of Representatives. I mean, it's not like Vladimir Putin, who has all-out power. It doesn't work like that, you know. So even if Donald Trump becomes president, it's not like the American president can actually do anything if the Senate and the House of Representatives don't let him. So it's not the end of the world. Basically, that's my optimistic look on it. In some countries, it would be a very big problem, you know, if a crazy man became, like, prime minister or president. But there is, like, a little bit of democracy in the United States, so hopefully, if that happens, it won't be the end of the world. But that's just an optimistic outlook. Now, bishop b7 allows queen b3, so I would like to go there, but we'll do bishop e6. With the bishop on g5, this has become like a Tarish kind of structure, and we can put the bishop on e6. Are you talking about Orban? Well, yeah. Orban is the prime minister of Hungary. That would be him. But in some countries, a leader with absolute power is a very scary thing. But, you know, in some countries they have limited power, even if they're president or prime minister. So, knight d7. I don't think Donald Trump is going to be able to change the Constitution of the United States anytime soon. Everyone in Europe loves Viktor Orban. Ghostmine playing really well here, guy. Very compact. I think no useless moves. Preventing me from playing h6 was a good idea. Here, yeah, I think... Feel uncomfortable. White is better. Ghostmine, what's up with your rating? You're 1500 in in classical based on 3 games, but your blitz rating is 1600. Your bullet game is highest, with the blitz second and classical third. So you get better the faster the time control is. You're playing well here in this 10-5 classical. I'm inviting political talk. Not really. I'm just responding to the talk in the chat room. Knight on 7 to f6. We got to talk about something. We should be talking about chess. King takes g7. Would be hell funny if he did. Well, I don't really like getting into political talk because there's a lot of people who are like internet trolls who go crazy with it. You know, they're just it's not good. Now, Ghostmine, you're playing pretty well here, but I'm gonna be cautious and careful, and I'm gonna just batten down the hatches, and I think black's okay. Yeah, I just, I don't go on internet, like, what do you say, like bulletin boards and forums and talk about politics, guys. It's not my thing. I have my opinions, but mostly I keep them to myself. And yeah, I'd appreciate if it didn't get. I'm not going to ban people from talking about politics altogether, though. At the same time, I mean, I have to find a kind of happy medium. I'm going to say you can't talk about politics at all. Is a little too militant for me. So I don't know, just to kind of keep it like on a very light level somehow, without like restricting what people are allowed to talk about. Rook to b8. But I don't understand why you guys aren't talking about chess. Apparently, Lance 500 on Lichess might actually be Vlad Putin. Here we go with the conspiracy theories. I don't know if Putin... I never saw an article that said Putin plays chess, but... I mean, from his generation, I imagine like everyone went to the Pioneer Palace and learned how to play chess. Rook b8. I ask why you moved to Hungary. I moved to Hungary to play chess, my friend. Very good history of chess in Hungary, and some particular tournaments series I came here to play in, but I ended up staying for other reasons, not just for chess. And do you do many puzzles? No, unfortunately. No time for puzzles. What is your next tournament? I don't know. I play in the Hungarian Team Championship. I talked about maybe playing in Zalakáros in southwest Hungary. There's an open tournament there. In the end of May. Thinking about that. I'm going to maybe play in a rapid tournament tomorrow, but I don't really consider that. I don't consider rapid chess to be a real tournament. Ghostmine, what are you doing? Rook e4. Ghostmine went into bullet mode. Ghostmine, I don't understand what just happened. You played so solid the whole game, and then you just sacked a piece. So too much bullet is not good for your slow chess, I would imagine. How did Maurice come up again? We're always talking... Where's Jennifer Shahadi today? She just totally bailed on me. I know, guys. Shansha is like, seriously. But they are starting to talk about chess, Shansha. We're at least kind of in the chess... vaguely in the chess realm now, talking about Maurice Ashley. But Svedlife, yeah, tends to be really out in outer space, dude. And then he starts spamming the channel when he gets excited. So, no spamming the channel with irrelevant stuff. And an occasional comment or two, but let's try to keep it like reasonable. Knight f4. Spamming, trolling, memes, all these wonderful words. Anyway, guys, speaking of chess tournaments, yeah, I'm going to play in a rapid tournament tomorrow, but it's not really that serious. Like 15-minute with a 3-second increment or 5-second increment, maybe. Does anybody know what the FIDE time control is for rapid chess? Last time I lost to some really weak players, and I learned my lesson. You just have to be practical in this time control. You know, anything under 30 minutes. Practicality just rules. Don't try to find the perfect move. Just play like good moves fast. And that's good enough. That's all you can do, basically. Alright. Ghost Mine here sacrificed a piece sort of randomly after playing the opening really well. So guys, what about the chess world? Anybody see any interesting games from the Aeroflot tournament? How about Gadakamsky's new look? I guess it's not that new. I saw a picture from like the North American Open, and he it's like he's going for the Grishuk look. But he's just not as handsome as Grishuk. He's not as beautiful as Grishuk. I mean, I don't mean that in a sexual way. I just mean that, like, somehow Grishuk's long hair look, just he makes it work. But Kamsky, I don't know. He always had, like, the short hair, and he always looked like his dad, kind of. Now he just looks like his dad with long hair. I guess it's a sort of, like, delayed rebellion against his dad. His dad was a boxer. He always had the short hair, very conservative, like. And now Kamsky has the long hair, but I don't like it. It looks kind of weird. I'm criticizing everyone, but at least it's a sort of chess-related comment. I'm talking about the hair of a chess player. You know, it's not like I'm talking about Vladimir Putin. And Kamsky's relevant because Kamsky has been in discussion lately, and saw a picture from Aeroflot. He just looks plain weird. Nothing like wrong with long hair, but it has to look good. And I think it's not working for Gada. I don't know. You like the Wei Potkin game? Okay, guys. I think this King D1 that Potkin played, it's just for the sake of being cool, you know. There's no way that King D1 is the best move for white. There's no way that line is even probably good for white, but somebody else played it. They mentioned another game on ChessBase, but I could swear that I saw Yakovenko play it and lose. Maybe I'm crazy, but I would swear that I recently saw Yakovenko do that. Then it could be my old memory, like, getting haywire again, but King D1... You're just playing that, you know, just because it looks cool. I mean, let's face it, you know. There's no way that line... And actually, if you look at it with the computer, black's absolutely fine. Maybe black was even better, actually. And now stalemates are a serious issue here. So we're not going to let that happen. No way, Ghost Mine. No stalemates today, dude. Not with 7 minutes on the clock. That's something I would do. So if you guys want to check out the game from Aeroflot, Potkin versus Wei Yi, talking seriously about chess now, you know, this King D1 thing, it's funny and everything, but I really doubt that it's like the best plan for white in that line. And I think black had a pretty fine game. He made a series of mistakes in situations where he had a lot of good moves, actually. Wei Yi just made like 2 or 3 outright mistakes to lose to Potkin. So I wouldn't recommend playing with your king on D1. You know, it's very romantic to try to do that, but objectively I think it's just not good for white. Grishuk has dreads. Does he have dreads? I didn't see any pictures. It's possible. Who knows? But I think Grishuk kind of makes the grungy hair, like the grungy long hair look, kind of work. But with Kamsky, I just can't see Kamsky with that. Just doesn't fit his personality at all. I think he's rebelling against his father. So, Ghost Mine, dragging it out, man. If this was a Sima, I would be pissed. Is there a stalemate somewhere? So, he had them. Okay, he had them. Well, okay, Grishuk's, he can do it. He can pull it off. Next Kamsky will have Kamsky will have dreadlocks. That would be funny. But speaking of Kamsky, yeah, he's running into problems there. The London system's going to run out of effectiveness at some point. He's playing the London system now. It's getting to the point where it's like predictable. And yesterday's game in Aeroflot was like, the guy was just super well prepared. It's like, okay, it's Kamsky. We're going to play. Oh, it's going to be a London system. So I think Kamsky needs to go back to the drawing board and whip up some other like very safe systems for white, because we've reached the point now where everybody's like ready for the London system. Magnus played it. Even Karyakin tried to play it. So Kamsky's, that was a bad day for Kamsky when Magnus played the London system, by the way. He kind of like took the wind out of Kamsky's sails. Now everybody's going to prepare for the London system. So Kamsky's whole opening repertoire just goes out the window. Urya, 1500, Filthy Bishop. Urya, welcome to the stream. Let's talk about Stonewall. Should I play the Stonewall to win with black? Well, I wouldn't play the Stonewall for a draw. That would be my opinion. So I think that playing the Stonewall for a win. Look, my opinion about the Dutch is that if you play f5, you're going to be lost in a lot of rook endings. Basically, it sounds kind of funny, but I'm serious. Once you put that pawn on f7, f5, you're basically going to be losing a lot of rook endings that you would otherwise have drawn. So, Shah and Shah, I think it's safe to say that if you're playing the Stonewall Dutch, you should be playing it for a win. If you're playing any Dutch, you should be playing for a win, because it's probably not a good idea to play the Dutch for a draw. Kamsky strangely played the Dutch. I didn't quite get that when he did that. Kamsky playing the Dutch is like Nakamura playing the French. Like, they just want to challenge themselves to doing something that's like contrary to their natural style. I really started to like, Liberian says c4 since I've been watching your stream. I like c4 because, or c4 based positions. Well, it's related to the Sicilian, and I played the Sicilian all my life. So first of all, it's often a reverse Sicilian. But at the same time, I think it's a good way to play for a win in a hyper-modern style without staking, too much in the center and taking a lot of risks. Here, knight f3 is probably not good, blocking the pawn. A bishop, don't say pawn, it's not a pawn, this is a bishop. This kind of bishop, the long diagonal is pretty strong for white. So I like my game. It's not much, but I think Kramnik would appreciate. Kind of minimalistic Catalan type of position. It also has positional lines with slow moves. You're talking about the Dutch or the English, Liberian? I'm kind of having two conversations at once, discussing the Dutch with Shah and Shah and the English with Liberian. This looks like a very Kamsky, Karpov, Kramnik-esque. What is it with the Ks? Kamsky, Kramnik, Karpov. Is that just a coincidence? Kasparov has a K. A lot of players. We can't really generalize like that. This looks pretty good for white. Knight c5. We cash in for the bishop pair. Do we go for more? Do you want to take the prize or do you want to go for the mystery box here? H3 would be the kind of safe prophylactic move. Or a rook to the open file isn't bad. We cash in for the bishop pair. Guys, the other day on Monday I posted a new video on my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. And you can check out Kamsky's use of the two bishops in a vicious ending from the US Championship last year. But Gelfand, you know what? I hope that Gelfand's getting an appearance fee for playing in Aeroflot because, you know, for players like he and Kamsky, this kind of open tournament is tough. Kamsky somehow won the Capel Open, which is sort of shocking given how solid his style is. But Aeroflot's going to be a tougher one to win. I mean, I'm sure Aeroflot is much stronger than Capel. I said Capel, right? Was Capel the Kamsky one, right? I believe so. Sometimes I have a tendency to misremember things. Here, I could play bishop b6 there. Capablanca, Bobby Kischer. Do you really need those possible move dots on the board? Well, no, nobody ever was bothered by it, but I don't need it. No, they're not for me. It honestly didn't really bother me. I never bothered to turn it off. If you just want to know. But if it really disturbs anyone, I can figure out how to turn it off. So rook c8. And anyway, bishop b6 was kind of in the cards here at some point. Kanji Manji. He's disturbed by the green dots. I can deal with that. So we got the two bishops, we've got the open file. Full body massage for Urja here. It's very pleasant position for white. The minimalist, playing for a win with no risk style. Gotta like it. Bishop e3. Can I ask please who you think is what is harder to play, open tournaments as a world-class player? Why do you think it's harder? Well, you're playing a lot of lower-rated grandmasters, and you don't have the luxury of making draws so much as you do if you're playing in a round robin where everyone's around the same rating. You don't lose a lot of points if you make a draw, but if you play in an open tournament, first round you're playing a guy 200 points lower. You've got to beat him, but he's still very strong. So it's pretty difficult. The open tournaments benefit the more fighting players, the more uncompromising styles. So Kamsky and Gelfand don't really fit the bill. These guys are guys that kind of grind wins and. They might not be quite uncompromising enough to get the points needed to win a major tournament, a 9-round tournament. It's probably going to take 7.5, 7, maybe 7. And the Kamskys, they sometimes end up with 6.5 too often. Too many draws. Maybe they don't lose a single game, but there's just too many draws along the way. And that's already happening, in the case of Gelfand and Kamsky. Too many draws. So you need an uncompromising style to win open tournaments, basically. That was a question from Zealot Charge. Do you think in the future Rapport will be a potential candidate? Yeah, I mean, Rapport is knocking on the door. Just needs a little more seasoning. he's right there. I mean, I think, yeah, he's not going anywhere, and he's just going to get better. So he's going to be legitimately like 2750 soon, and pushing on the, knocking on the door of the top 10, basically. He's got a lot of resources behind him. Rapport was lucky. He comes from a kind of wealthy family, which is pretty unusual for a Hungarian. So right from the get-go, Rapport had a lot of financial resources that most Hungarian juniors don't have. And it definitely made a big difference in his case. So Urja, it's Christmas in March. Thanks for the game, Urja. DST. Filthy Bishop, I'm going to give you a rematch. Let's play one game with DST, and then I'll give you a rematch. Because there aren't that many players challenging me right now. Guys, we've got another half an hour to go. So we've got time for a few more games. Shansha, he prepared today morning to play versus me. Come on. Did you play that against me before, Shansha? Did you play the Stonewall against me before? I understand what you mean. But I played somebody else on Lee Chess recently in a Stonewall. And I don't think it was against you, but it was against somebody in a random blitz game, I think. That's dirty Shansha preparing for me. I'll have to be more careful with you in the future. But I made a very, very bad mistake there. Okay, this is interesting. It's like a Verisov opening. I'm playing an early c5. Gary Hurst said, I started playing Dutch, but I play Leningrad to win. Yeah, I mean, I think the Leningrad is the realistic choice in the Dutch. Anything else? The Stonewall is okay, but the serious Dutch players play Leningrad. But as I said, yeah, you can't play the Dutch for a draw. You're just, you know... This is pretty unusual what DST is doing here on the long diagonal with the knight and the rook on a1. Kind of asking for trouble, you might say. But I'm not sure that I have any way to like concretely take advantage. You guys see the game? I didn't do it. Let's see. Yeah, I did do it for my YouTube channel. Yeah, Rapport Aronian, right? It's a long game. That's the only thing that I was like a little bit reticent to put it on my channel. But actually, DST is playing the Aronian kind of setup. An Aronian like setup. You might have to play knight a4 to get the knight off the c file at some point. But I don't see a way I can really exploit the long diagonal very easily here. I could play knight e4, but after bishop b2, I'm not sure I see what that really achieves. So what's up, guys? Tomorrow I'm going to be streaming in the morning, 10 a.m., and then Central European time. Sunday, simul, 5:45 Central European time. So that's a little earlier than it was before because I want to make an extra 15 minutes. I had trouble during simul on Sunday. Too many players and not enough time. Basically, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. Now, bishop a3 is a problematic move. I have to take drastic action here. With queen a5, which doesn't win anything, but it's going to force white to back off, basically. Shansha says he plays every defense to d4. I think that's good for your game. You know, you develop a wide knowledge of the openings. You can learn to see like sort of transpositions from one type of position to another, and I think that will help you along the way as you improve in chess to be able to see like different types of positions, how different openings transpose to another. And I also play a lot of different stuff, but you have to be careful. It's okay to experiment, but when you play in serious tournaments, I have had the problem that I'm not like deeply prepared enough in certain lines. So last Sunday I played a move order mistake in my tournament game, and it turned out that it wasn't even bad, but I played this line so infrequently that I felt psychologically upset because I played like a mistake. But you don't have confidence in what you're playing if you don't play it on a regular basis. That's the problem. You need a kind of feeling of like comfortability. Is that a word? Comfortability? Feeling of comfort in a position that you play frequently, you know? And when you play a lot of different kind of openings, you don't really feel that at home, and it can cause psychological problems, like it did against me. It turned out my position was fine, but I was like second guessing myself all the time because it's not a position that I play on a regular basis, and that can be a problem if you have a really wide opening repertoire that you may not feel comfortable, and it could cause you to make some kind of psychological mistakes. So, what's up, guys? Gary Hurst says he likes the Slav and the Nimzo versus d4. Slav is the most popular opening, and I think there's a good reason for that. It's like as solid as the Queen's Gambit, but kind of a bit more aggressive somehow, because your bishop gets outside the pawn chain in a lot of lines. This is weird. It's turning into like a strange kind of Tarash structure. Thinking of developing my bishop outside the pawn chain here. I'm not sure objectively if this is even the best move for me. A lot of candidate moves here, really. E6 even, but maybe rook d8, bishop f5, bishop g4. I don't want to, I don't want to play knight e4 and chase his knight from c3 unless I can open up the d file against this pawn on d4. Maybe knight e4. Knight e4 was an interesting candidate move as well in that position. This is what I was afraid of, basically. Knight to e5. And let's get rid of these arrows and circles here. So knight e5. He trades his good bishop, but he can actually fix the bad piece on c3. So my queen ends up in a bit of an awkward spot on a5 in this position. I'm not really sure I like the way I played this. It's okay. I mean, black's not in any danger, but we want to try to play the best possible moves. And here now, though, maybe I do have something. I guess we have takes and knight g4. But yeah, takes and knight g4. Looks like it might be good enough for me. It's awkward for white. What's the best way to study an opening? Against 2300 to 2400 guys. How much deep? You mean like 2300 to 2400 guys in terms of here, or like FIDE rated? Well, I think your opening should be generally prepared, more or less like 15 moves deep, if you want to be really professional about it. It shouldn't really matter, the rating. I mean, there's a lot of players who are very strong in opening preparation, but pretty weak in other phases of the game. And there are players like me who I'm not like that well prepared in the opening, but I am pretty strong from a practical standpoint. So here's a good move, knight f4 from DST. He gets counterplay against d5, and things are going to be interesting here. I don't know. Looks equal, I guess. He's white. I thought I was better, but nothing I can do, really. Like, I have to play this move. And I was thinking that maybe I can get the bishop pair with some knight f3 check, but I think it's just an illusion. I mean, I'm in danger of losing my e7 pawn in a lot of lines, so maybe we have a move here. Queen c7, keeping the queens on the board. Hitting c2. I'm not sure that hitting c2 is that significant, but we can also exploit the queen on d5. If I trade queens there and play knight f3 check, maybe I should do it, actually. Trading queens, knight f3 check takes, bishop takes b2. He has knight takes e7, and I lose a pawn, so I wasn't real sure about it, to be honest. I wasn't really sure I liked it. Here we can gain a tempo at the very least with rook d8. Rather than play like knight f3 check right away, here go for the bishop pair. I can gain a tempo, and then grab the bishop pair. White has a solid knight though, so I don't think I have anything here. Well, here I can take on c2 now. You can take on b7. Would spice up the game a bit, I guess. But my e7 is hanging there. a7 is hanging. Not really sure I like it. Not really sure I like trading pieces here either. Where am I going to go? a3, e5. We're going to lose on time if we don't do something fast. Knight d3. I didn't expect that. Okay. So it's a time scramble. I thought knight d5 was just absolutely forced move for white there. Wow. You kind of tricked me, DST. Kind of tricked me here. Why am I putting my bishop on c3? That's the stupidest square ever. That's the second time I fell for the same trap, basically. And DST, 2046. Hanging tough. How can I just keep doing the same stupid thing more than once? We have a little something now. It's not much. Not much. Yep. Wow. I should have taken on a2, I guess. This may be objectively still drawn, but it's not an easy endgame for white. I don't think f3 is the best move there. That pawn structure weakness could be significant. DST very fast, though. It's kind of an interesting theoretical ending. I think I missed e4. Yeah, e4 would have been pretty nasty for me. Now it's winning. So Unfortunately, I grabbed 2 pawns, DST. This was a really tough game. That ending is pretty theoretical. Maybe it's a draw, but it's not an easy draw for white. Longest game we've played in a while, guys. Game per frame, you're spamming the channel. What's up, man? You're doing like live commentary. So, King Dodo, Ghost Mine, Filthy Bishop. Filthy Bishop I promise to play again. But I guess if nobody else is going to talk, you're going to commentate. Yeah, so d4, knight f6, c4. That was an interesting endgame. The rook pawn isn't the ideal pawn for black to have there. I'd like to have... The ideal pawn for black is to have a knight pawn. Or, yeah, a knight pawn. A b or a g pawn, obviously, what I'm talking about. Yeah, this probably a draw. I didn't like the way he played f3. I thought white should probably play h4 before h4 is a much better structure for white there than playing f3. Filthy Bishop, early Bishop g5 against the Queen's Indian. Pretty rare line. Not too many people play this. And, okay, I could play a lot of different stuff, but maybe c5 is worth considering. g3, bishop a6. I rarely play bishop a6. Now you're playing knight c3, so if I play c5 here, d5. If I play c5 here, you can't play d5, right? You lose a pawn. c5, d5, pawn takes pawn, knight takes, knight takes. No, I can't do that. I can't do c5, d5. Is good for white, right? I think theoretically, knight e4 is the recommendation for black. Simplify. It's not very exciting, but it equalizes like immediately. Swedlife, do you play players who attempt to keep a chess game closed are weak and boring? No. I think that players who try to keep the chess game closed are maybe not focusing as much on tactics, but more on like long-term strategy, and it's just a different style. It's not like boring. I mean, it may be boring to you if you play like the Mora Gambit every game, or you know, we play open positions constantly, but no, absolutely not. I think closed position players are just trying to reach positions they feel more comfortable with. A lot of players who are phenomenal tactically are horrible in closed positions. So I would do it. In many instances, I play based on what I think my opponent, you know, doesn't like. I'll play closed position against people who are weak in closed positions, and open positions against people who are preferring closed positions. I think the best is to be flexible and to be able to play both. Did you play in the Wesley So tournament? No, too much chess for me all day. I couldn't play in the Wesley So tournament as well. I'm doing chess all day, so in the evening I like to detox a little bit. e4. We try to get a setup where we're basing most of our pawns on dark squares. This is kind of classical. Against this bishop on d3, which is a bad piece in this sort of position. Filthy bishop, actually. Ghost Mine is challenging me to what, 1-0? Your favorite time control, Ghost Mine. Anyway, guys, if you're new to the channel, thanks for joining. I'm International Master William Pascal, living in Budapest, Hungary since 2004. We are from the United States originally. So Filthy Bishop got a draw last time because it was 5-0. Now he's challenging me to 6 minutes with a 3-second increment. So last time I kind of fell asleep in a 5-minute game and was lucky to scramble a draw because I was way behind on time. But now we can play more strategically. Swedlife, do you make these comments about closed positions because of this opening that we're playing right now? I basically try to transform my game to the type of game my opponent doesn't want, so against a very strong tactician, I'll try to keep it closed, and against a strong strategic player, we'll try to open it up. But not everyone has the ability to change colors, so to speak. So this is my greatest strength in chess, my ability to play different kind of styles, I think. A5, it was a general question. I like how people would say black was threatening e takes d, c takes d4, bishop takes e4. Yeah, I didn't even consider it. This dangerous pawn grab before he played rook e1. Yeah, it might be possible, theoretically, to take it and defend it with f5. But it's just not part of the plan. He played a4, which is interesting. It's kind of double-edged. The a4 pawn could actually become a weakness itself. But he did force me to play a5. Not force me, but encourage me to play a5. When sometimes c5 can be an idea for white to break open the pawn structure. Even like in many cases sacrificing a pawn, perhaps. So it looks like he's thinking about stuff along those lines with knight d2. Played rook b8, kind of safety against this line, the b line. If he plays rook b1 at some point, and now he's okay. This is a good plan. Knight here, knight here. So, but I'm not sure that white can really keep the center protected here. I was thinking about maybe g6 at some point, and I'm a King's Indian player, so bishop c2. I don't play just the Nimzo Queen's Indian. I also play the King's Indian. Sometimes I have a tendency to turn things into the King's Indian that weren't the King's Indian to begin with. So if you see me trying to fianchetto on the king side, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe g6, queen g7 at some point is interesting for black. Played f3. A cautious move. A little bit like you have some weaknesses on the dark squares, but f3 guards the pawn, and I think he has some legitimate concerns. He had some legitimate concerns about f3. So I could play c5, really trying to get the dark squares, but it makes a permanent weakness for me, a permanent backwardness along the file there. So I'm not really enthused about that. Let me get rid of all these arrows and circles. It's kind of making me crazy. Okay, so I can't really put more pressure on his center. That's the problem here. Although we could consider bishop a6 maybe. Then he just plays bishop a3. So this is not so easy for me. I'll make a waiting move. King h8. It could never hurt to play king h8. It's on a dark square. We might want to attack on the king side if the center is closed. You could think about attacking on the king side long term. That's very long term. I'm talking about like, 10 moves from now or something. We're basically trying to get, again, this is like King's Indian defense kind of thinking here. I mean, king h8, very long term, maybe g6, f5, and even this bishop can come back to c8. We could turn it into a King's Indian. If the center is closed enough, I can get away with something like that. But at the moment, Filthy Bishop playing very solidly, not making it easy for me. I'll get rid of the arrows and circles. Not making it easy for me to do anything. So, yeah, if you guys don't have a lot of patience, maybe you should try a different game, honestly. If you can't play a closed position, maybe like I don't know, like a third-person shooter game or something would be more up your alley. But you really need to be able to play closed positions and play strategic chess, even if you don't like it. You need to be able to appreciate it. Now the question is, can I play c6? I mean, it's really weakening on the b6 pawn, but I'm not really sure I want to give up my bishop here. It's not bad. I can give up the bishop. It's not too bad, but his bishop gets in the game, so is there anything tactical for white if I play this? It does weaken my structure considerably, though. I'm going to have to be careful. I don't really want to give up my bishop for that knight and let his bishop come in here on all these white squares and just wreak havoc. I have a lot of white square weaknesses, and now I'm going to have to be careful because knight f5. Knight f5 is a problem. So rook d8, I guess. Maybe rook e d8, actually. E d8, rook f d8. Looks like white is better now. I'm not really thrilled. My idea is to bring the queen back to f6 here. Probably play bishop a6 at some point. We can kick his knight out with g6, so it's not there forever. And the rook d8 opposite his queen makes it hard for him to kind of break through. Game per frame, dude, you're just spamming the channel way too much. Dude. G6. Queen d2, though. Filthy bishop. Thinking about this. Knight e3. Again, bishop a6. You guys can do private chat too. Don't have to put everything in the channel. Or whispers or whatever. Knight g4. So I think Filthy Bishop playing a pretty good game here. I'm going to lock it up with c5 now. And we've got the knight to protect b6. He goes with e4. This guy will come back to c8 at some point. But Filthy Bishop, pretty advanced play, I think, more or less. Now, if f5, I'm a little bit worried about some stuff here. Pretty advanced positionally, Filthy Bishop. I think you've really played well. Tie me down there, and we go for f5 here. I guess I could sacrifice the b6 pawn in some lines. Knight e3. I thought it was better to play knight h6 there. So here I have a move. This is kind of a classic sacrifice. The Filthy Bishop walked into positional sealer sweeper sacrifice, and it's kind of coming to fruition what I was talking about. King's Indian type of attack, bishop on c8, lots of threats. I'm threatening knight f3 check. F3 just wins, I guess. So pretty tough for white, I would imagine, this position. He's still alive. I don't see a forced win. The white doesn't have time to be grabbing pawns on b6, as you can see. He resigned. I don't think he had to resign yet, but Anyway, pretty intense game there. I think Svedlife didn't appreciate it. He's trying to bore you to sleep, man. Someone should like lock you in a room, Svedlife, and make you analyze closed positions for like 2 years or something. You can develop a kind of appreciation for it. Ghost Mine, we're not going to do 1 minute. So guys, we've got time for one more game. Who's going to be the last victim, basically? That's the question today. Last game, guys. We need one more victim. I'm not going to play 1 minute chess with Ghost Mine and showcase my embarrassing mouse skills. So even in my youth, I was mouse handicapped. I somehow kind of get away with, you know, my subpar mouse skills, but we're not going to do the 1 minute. Rose Junkie challenging me to 8-2, GG 5-2. Hey, we'll play 8-2 is a little long. It's our last game. We'll play GG one last game of 5-2. We're gonna play E4. Another promise I sort of made to myself, guys, was that I was gonna play more E4 because I'm not playing enough E4 on the stream, and I do play E4, and I have played E4 at various stages quite a bit, but I realized like lately I've been playing almost no E4. So interesting Sicilian and Queen C7 now. If I had known you would play Queen C7, I might have played like Knight C3 and G3. But I like the Bishop D3 lines for white in the Con Sicilian. Kamsky comes back to mind. He plays this stuff with black. Svidler, Kamsky, Karpov. Who comes to mind when you think of Con Sicilian? Who did I play? Alexander Strapunsky I played in this line. Yeah, and so Knight F3 in this type of position, I think it's a Marazzi type of structure for white. I don't really want to trade pieces, and it's not like a classic open Sicilian. This knight comes back to F3 in this line oftentimes. There are sites to train your mouse skills. I think I should take advantage of that, actually. I never thought of that game per frame. That's a very good suggestion. I mean, in all seriousness, I really should. I should have done it a long time ago. That is the best suggestion I had all day. Is the Lichess rating overrated or not? He says I'm 2330 here. Well, you know, it's statistical sample sizes. It's very hard to correlate like an online rating with an over-the-board ELO rating. So, I mean, it's almost impossible to expect them to be comparable. Okay, Bishop F4, I guess. I try to put pressure on D6, on E5, and the bishop does have a retreat square. But I think it's about as comparable as you can get. I don't think the ratings are especially inflated, as I have seen on some websites. But if you look at my rating, guys, I only have played 87 classical games. That is a really small sample size, and in Blitz I'm 287, which I guess is somewhat relevant. You know, should start to get to like a significant sample size. Wesley got crushed by 2300s on lead. Listen, guys, if Wesley was playing online, there's really a lot of possibility of people like using like engine assistance, maybe to try to like beat a world-class player online. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if anybody like had some help against Wesley So, but I didn't watch. But basically people cheat in most instances when there's something at stake. You know, usually it's money, but also like kind of looking cool in front of the crowd. Mostly people don't cheat against me because it's just like a stream and no one really cares, but I could see them like, if it's a tournament, if there were prizes and stuff. Were there prizes in the Wesley tournament yesterday? I didn't even like think about it, to be honest. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just like stating a fact that, you know, if there's a prize on the line, you know, online chess, forget about it. You know, it's I don't mean to be a pessimist, you know, a naysayer and a fun killer, but I have yet to see an online chess tournament where somebody wasn't cheating. If there's a prize at stake. I've even heard of like elaborate, I'm not going to name any names, but I heard of elaborate like collusion situations, you know. So unfortunately we can't really have online competitions without problems arising. So what about knight d5 here? Do I have that? Knight d5, take. It's maybe not such a big deal, is it? I'm going to play bishop b1. You're going to take on f3 and play f5, maybe. There were Bitcoin prizes. There weren't prizes. We have different opinions. At the same time, we have to take care not to like judge anybody. Oh, he beats so. He's got to be using a computer. You know, the guy's human. I mean, he's totally human. He could lose a blitz game to anybody. I lose. I'm not so, but I mean, I know that these people are human. You know, they seem like they're superstars, but they're not beatable. But they are, especially in blitz. So we can't accuse anybody of cheating without really hard evidence. But I would suspect if he lost like multiple games, I would suspect that like there's a chance at least one of them might have been getting some help. Okay, b6. Now knight d5 starts to look stronger, doesn't it? It's at least worth a try. Kind of break up his structure. We'd like to get the bishop on e7. Nothing else. I have a bad feeling about this. I just had a bad feeling about this. GG, did I just trick myself? Oh no. You have bishop b5, don't you? Dog. If I take on d5, he has bishop b5. I can't even click on the mouse. You see my mouse skills? He has bishop b5. And the problem is at the end, he's on my queen at the end. So looks like I'm busted here. GG gonna end the stream with a win over me. We have some tries to play for a win, I guess. I'm gonna do this, and I don't really have much compensation. I misplayed even my best chance there, I guess. We'll try to play it out a little bit, but I'll probably resign shortly. So, miscalced against GG. Yeah, this is lost. GG never beat me before. This is going to be the first time. I totally missed bishop b5, guys. So, sad but true. We're going to lose a piece here. I don't see any compensation here for me. I think we're going to have to resign. I knew it was too good to be true. Play a couple more moves. But I don't want to play out down a piece. His bishop could get trapped. That's the only thing. If I could trap his bishop. Yeah, GMs cheat just like anybody else, in my experience. Unfortunately, titles should guarantee that, we have a little more respect for the game. One would hope, but In actual practice, it seems to be that's not always the case. We're gonna try to swindle Z-chess. I'm sorry, Z-chess. GG. Sorry, GG. I thought you were Z-chess for a minute. I think we're basically totally desperate here. Maybe we have a trick up our sleeve. I don't know. Let's see. Not looking too good, guys. Let's try one last try against GG. What was my idea again? Oh yeah, now I remember. It doesn't work. Yeah, that's a problem. That's gonna be a problem. Okay, good game. Good game, GG. You got me. You got me with bishop b5. I was like, oh yes. Okay. Good game. You beat me now. Got a few draws and a win. Thanks everybody for the stream. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I thought I could whip up a little bit of a cheapo there, but couldn't do it. Good game, GG. Congratulations for beating me. And welcome everybody. Tomorrow we will be here at 10 a.m. Central European time once again. And it'll be a shorter stream tomorrow. I think only 2 hours because I've got to go to a rapid tournament in the afternoon. We will be doing a simul on Sunday at 5:45 Central European. So be there for that, and check out my YouTube videos on Video Chess Training, my channel on YouTube. New video going up today. I think one of the games from the Aeroflot tournament I'm going to analyze. One of the more interesting games from round 1 or 2. Okay, see you guys later. Thanks for being here. You weren't lucky, GG. You played good. You sucked me in with a knight d5 sacrifice, and I saw bishop b5. I thought, nah, it's not gonna happen. Yep. Good game. Okay, guys. Take care. Bye bye. Thanks for the views. See you tomorrow.